No matter where you come from, no matter where you're going, here's a place where you can take comfort in the knowing that whether if you've come to stay a while or just passing through, this door is open to you. Come and let's be silent. Come and share a hug. Come, let's pray together. Come, love and be loved. From the blissed out to the turned out, from the pampered to the abused, this door is open to you. Come on in. Come on in. Come on in. Come on in. The God in us recognizes the God in you. The God in you. Whether you're black or white, gay or straight, Christian, Buddhist or Jew, this door is open to you. If there's some kind of trouble or pain you're going through, know that you are not alone and someone cares for you as an individual.
Good morning. This door is open to you, and it's a good thing because it is cold outside this morning. It went from a balmy day yesterday to a very cold day this morning, but welcome to each and every one of you. Those of you that are in the building this morning, would you take the opportunity to turn and to wave at our, first of all, we give thanks for the ones in our sound booth today. We want to thank you for being here, and then we acknowledge those that are joining us on live stream. Mary Ann and Shane, thank you for being back there. And all of you who are joining us virtually, we want to extend a warm welcome to you. My name is Darlene Strickland. I'm the senior minister, and we always like to begin our time together in prayer. I invite you to turn your awareness within this morning. As we turn our awareness within, we greet this day with the newness of a new day. We give thanks for the ability and the capacity to be fully present and available to the gift of life, to the blessing that life is. Today we explore the idea of blessing, what it means to be in receivership and the one who bestows a blessing. What does that really mean? As we open to this today, we open to the gifts that are here for us individually and collectively. And we give thanks in the name and the nature of all that is holy, and so it is. Amen. We truly want to thank you for being here with us this morning. I'm going to invite our very own Williams sisters up, Kat and Mary Kay, to come on up front. While it's good to have them. Always so grateful when we have both of them in the building. Today we also have with us Melody Cooper. She's filling in for Richard today, joining Dave, Joel, Joey, and Pete. So we want to thank them for being here. If you have a cell phone with you and it's still on, we ask that you would turn that off or put it on airplane mode. It really helps everything here. We appreciate that. We want to begin our time today with a beautiful song that says, "This joy that I have, the world didn't give it, and the world can't take it away."
Joy that I have, the world didn't give it to me. Oh, this joy that I have, the world didn't give it to me. Oh, this joy that I have, the world didn't give it to me. The world didn't give it, and the world can't take it away. Trials, seen so many tears. Oh, one thing I'm assured of, my God is always here. When I open to Spirit, I find joy I can't contain. You see, the world world didn't give it to me. Oh, this joy that I have, the world didn't give it to me. Oh, this joy that I have, the world didn't give it to me. The world didn't give it, and the world can't take it away. Well, I've been in many valleys, and I've been to the mountaintop. Oh, I've never been forsaken, 'cause I am the light of God. When I open to Spirit, find love I can't contain. The world didn't give it, and the world can't take it away.
Come on, stand up and sing it with us. This love.
This love that I have, the world didn't give it to me. No, no, no. This love that I have, the world didn't give it to me. Oh, this love that I have, the world didn't give it to me. The world didn't give it, and the world can't take it away.
This joy.
This joy that I have, the world didn't give it to me. Oh, this joy that I have, the world didn't give it to me. Oh, this joy that I have, the world didn't give it to me. The world didn't give it, and the world can't take it away.
The world didn't give it.
The world didn't give it, and the world can't take it away.
One more time, the world.
The world didn't give it, and the world can't take it
All right. Kat and Mary Kay, you're going to get to enjoy some more of both of them. We want to take this opportunity to acknowledge our youth program and our children that are here today. We're excited to be gearing up for next year, to be able to expand our youth program again, to hopefully have our nursery going, our Unitots, our Unikids, our Uniteens, and our Youth of Unity. So we're going to affirm that our teachers and sponsors are coming in to have that happen. And I want to really acknowledge these two amazing ministers, individuals, Reverend Gabby and Reverend Barbara Ann. They have been holding the space, holding this high watch for this to take place. We affirm to our youth every Sunday that we love you, we bless you, we appreciate you, and behold the divinity in you. So would you join me in affirming that today? We love you, we bless you, we appreciate you, and we behold the divinity in you. I also want to give a shout out, Karen Eve in the back. Karen Eve, with you, raise your hand. We have a new program that is called Mentor Moments. It's where we're asking some of you, go out and spend a few minutes with our young people and one Sunday and share a little bit with them about your life. You would be amazed at how much they appreciate learning something about your life. We've had different individuals share, and today Karen Eve is going to be sharing. So for our youth program, we bless you, and we'll look forward to hearing about your experience together. Thank you so much for being here. We also want to extend an invitation to any of you that may be here for a first time. We have a blue connections card, and if you raise your hand and let us know that you're here for the first time, we can extend this card to you with a heart. So our hands are up. If Unity folks, if you'd lovingly point to those people, it helps our ushers find them. And Michael is recovering remarkably well from a hip replacement, and he's just doing amazing. But Michael, over on this side, if you want to make it around. If you raised your hand and it's your first time, this is a connections card. The red heart, if you wear that. I had one person one Sunday that put it right on their third eye. We couldn't miss them. We'll recognize you. But if your style is, I don't really want to raise my hand, there's some of these out in the foyer and in our little welcome area. To those of you that are joining virtually, if you'd put in the comments and let us know that it's your first time, we'd like to extend a warm welcome to you as well. But to each and every one of you, whether it's your first time or whether you know this is your spiritual, these are your people, we'd like to extend that same blessing to one another. So let's do that together to say, we love you, we bless you, we appreciate you, and we behold the divinity in you. Welcome again this morning. Today is the final week of a series where we've been exploring a book by Barbara Brown Taylor, An Altar in the World. I've asked Terry Crosby, one of our own poets and writers among us. She's a published author, just a beautiful heart, a beautiful individual, and she's going to share today on the final idea of blessing. Would you welcome Terry Crosby?
So Reverend Darlene asked me to share something this morning about bestowing blessings. So I'd like to start with some words from Barbara Brown Taylor about blessing others, and then add a few of my own about how we might bless ourselves. So from Barbara Brown Taylor, start throwing blessings around, and chances are you will start noticing all kinds of things you never noticed before. Did you ever notice the white and black striped stockings on the stick legs of that blessed mosquito before? Did you ever notice the tiny purple flowers on that blessed moss? One liability of pronouncing blessings out of doors is that it gets hard to walk on things. Once you become aware of the life in them, the kinship can really slow you down. The same is true of other people. The next time you are at the airport, try blessing the people sitting at the departure gate with you. Every one of them is dealing with something significant. See that mother trying to contain her explosive 2-year-old? See that pock-faced boy with the huge belly? Even if you cannot know for sure what is going on with them, you can still give a care. They are on their way somewhere, the same way you are. They are between places too, with no more certainty than you about what will happen at the other end. Pronounce a silent blessing and pay attention to what happens in the air between you and that other person, all those other people. End quote. To bless another also surely blesses us, because blessing another requires us to be in a loving space. But after completing that chapter in particular of her book, I wondered about taking moments to directly bless ourselves during an average day. During confusion or upset or stress, how might we bless ourselves? And how would that change the air between us? A blessing of self, I believe, needs 2 special qualities to help us embody the blessing, become the blessing. Deep truth, direct language. So during confusion, not knowing which way to turn, for instance, we might bless ourselves by putting our hand on our heart and saying very gently, I am choice. That's deep truth and direct language. In other situations, I am forgiveness. I am vitality. I am generosity. I am compassion. I am open heart. I am collaboration. I am kindness. I am clear purpose. I am love.
Mary Kay Williams.
day. We're in a time, we're in a world that's lost its mind. Where is our soul? Where is our heart? We each need to pray to find a way. There is a way out of the dark. Be the light, be the light. Let the flame that burns inside of you change somebody's life. Be the light, be the light. You may be the only candle in the night, but you be the light. When you are loved, when you are whole, someone will see and they will believe. Like a fire so strong, it will catch on. Be the light, be the light. Let the flame that burns inside of you change somebody's life. Be the light, be the light. You may be the only candle in the night, but you be the light. Shine, shine, show the way. Open your eyes, don't be afraid. Be the light, be the light. Let the flame that burns inside of you change somebody's life. Be the light, be the light. You may be the only candle in the night, but you be the light. You be the light.
Wow, Be the Light, a beautiful song by Jason and DeMarco and this incredible band. Would you give them your love and appreciation again? Thank you so much to all of you. All of you. Well, between what Terry said and what she just sang, that's pretty much our message today. I did not really know a lot about Barbara Brown Taylor before I started reading this book. It was actually one of our members, Betsy Watley, that introduced me with another of her books called Holy Encounter, I believe. But reading this book, I've sort of fallen in love with the writer, the muse, and how she sees the world. Today is the finals, the 7th week of a 7-week series where we've been exploring an altar in the world. What would it be like if this world became our altar? If this world became the place that we truly showed up and be the light that we already are? Chapter 7 is the practice. Each week we've explored a different practice, and today is what she calls the practice of pronouncing blessings. I often include in my prayers, it's just something that I heard myself say one day, and I'll often say, may we be blessed that we may be a blessing. And I think that on a most basic human level, we all want to be blessed. Amen? Everybody wants a blessed life. And most people want to be a blessing. You really want that. And if you really think about it, if you have observed life, your life, if you've noticed people around you or people that you see in the media, sometimes we encounter people that you can look at them and just see that their life is blessed. You really see that they sort of engage life as if it is a gift, and that their very presence is a blessing. And then if you notice, you encounter people that they tend to engage life as a competition or a struggle. That the primary focus perhaps may be one of getting ahead or getting even or getting their way or getting out of a mess. That there's getting caught up in the pettiness or always entangled in stuff. And most of us, quite frankly, sort of vacillate between the two. But the question we ask ourselves today is, what is it behind a blessed life? Is it luck? Is it the result of a spiritual practice? Is it a way of being? Is it an art? What is it? Could it be most of those? However we approach it, it makes a really big difference. You engage blessing more often than you may really even pause to think about. How many of you bless your food before you eat it? Lord knows when COVID first started happening, we were blessing it with sanitizer and wine, and we were like, bless it, Lord, bless this bag and this feel blessed. We were blessing things. We bless a child, we bless a couple, we bless a home. Today I shall bless the Seahawks, or any of you planning to bless a team. You're chosen. We bless a lot of things. A person sneezes, and what do you say? Bless you, or gesundheit. And we kind of create that as a call and response. Achoo. Well, my nephew, we learned later in life, he was in his early 20s before he realized that bless you was not a word. He thought that it was like a call and response. If a person sneezed, you said gesundheit or bless you. And we said, well, Asher, how do you spell that? And he said B-L-I-S-H-E-W. And we realized that he grew up around all these Southerners that said bless you, bless you, bless you. And he heard it as bless you. In the South, we also say bless your heart. And we may admit there might not be the prettiest blessing behind that. So we use the words, we go through some rituals. Some of you may have been formally blessed in your life. Perhaps you were blessed as a baby, in a marriage, in a divorce. Perhaps you were blessed with an ordination, or you opened a company, you cut a ribbon, whatever. You may have experienced blessing. Some of you may have been asked to give blessings. I know some of you have. Some of you have said, I've been asked to do the wedding of my friend or my this or that. Could you help me? How do I do a blessing? Well, let's look at that today, because you are already engaging in the idea of what it is to be blessed and to be a blessing. To pause and consider it, I recently went into a new restaurant, and after we were seated, I looked over and I saw a sign, and I literally laughed out loud because the sign said, "We bless everybody, some when they enter and some when they go." And I thought, oh, that's church too. That's just people, And so do you want to be one of those that they're blessed by your entrance, or they're like, Lord, thank God they're gone? We don't want that to be the kind of blessing. We want our presence to be a blessing and to engage that. Whether you look in the Old Testament, the New Testament, the different many interfaith traditions, blessing is a theme. If you look in the book of Proverbs, it says, the one who blesses others is abundantly blessed. The Buddha said, it is not your station in life, but it is your heart that brings blessing. The Tao Te Ching says, if your willingness to bless is limited, so is your ability to receive them. This is the subtle operation of the Tao, of being, of your being. So be aware of the oneness of all things. As I worked with this idea today and really sat with it, what kind of the download, what it came to me, was what I'm calling the 4 movements of blessing. And so for the next few minutes, I want you to just put aside any preconceived ideas. You can pick those right back up when you go. But let's just create some space and just navigate out in some waters together in what we're going to call the 4 movements of blessing. The first movement of blessing is to be. To be. The first movement of blessing is to know yourself as the original blessing and original blessing. Much of Christianity teaches a doctrine of original sin. I believe there's a real problem in that. Because if your nature is one of deficit, then your whole life is trying to overcome a deficit. If your nature is one of being blessed and ordained, and if your nature is in accordance with what it says in the book of Genesis, when the book of Genesis very clearly said, and God created mankind, man and woman, and God looked upon them and said, what? It is good. You can't extract that blessing. And so I'm not saying that we wake up fully enlightened. I'm saying we wake up and we grow into the awareness. This earth plane is about making practical, putting into practice the idea, the image, the potential that we are. So while we have to grow into it, we get to grow into it. There's a huge difference if you believe you are deficit. If you believe you are evil, if you believe that something's wrong with you and you need someone else to atone for you, and you're not clear about who is the one and which path and what's right, you could spend your whole life trying to figure that out and miss the point. It is good. You are good. You are blessed. And I truly believe that a life of blessing is deeply anchored and rooted in that the first movement of blessing is to be the original blessing that you already are. It's a self-orientation that flows from knowing you are always connected, that you are an expression of the one Holy Spirit, the one life spirit, that you have the perfect spirit as your blueprint of being. When you begin to really marinate yourself in that truth, then there's no one else to compete with. Amen? Acorns don't go around seeing who's the prettiest acorns. Acorns set out to become the oak. Something opens up and you set out to become the blessing, to the fulfillment of your potential. Now, some would argue and say, but that's not biblical. Well, it's found in every sacred tradition, even in Christianity, if you're willing to look. Jesus himself, the one that many people will say is the only Savior, the only begotten Son, Jesus knew himself as a begotten of the one, but his final prayer was, and so are you too. May you know that about yourself. In perhaps one of the most popular sermons in the Bible, it's called the Sermon on the Mount. And in that Sermon on the Mount, what's so popular about it is called the Beatitudes. Kind of attitudes of being. And you kind of have to put yourself back in that time into the audience. So Jesus is speaking to an audience at a time in the Hebrew, the Jewish tradition, where the God that they knew and the law that they lived under was simple. Obey and be blessed, disobey and be cursed. And that's why in the scriptures, and if you listen to them, if a woman was barren, she was cursed. If the land was barren, it was cursed. If a person was born at a lower caste of life, that's why they could disregard them, because they thought God had cursed them also. Do you hear what I'm saying? So they believed if you looked out and you saw a person who was barren, or a field, a farmer whose crops weren't producing, if you saw somebody who had terrible hardships, they're like, oh, we don't even want to get around them because God has cursed them. You see how that felt? And so then what happens, what turns us upside down in the famous Sermon on the Mount, when Jesus has got all these people there, he has the audacity to say, blessed are the poor in spirit. And they're like, wait a minute, we're cursed. He said, no, blessed are those who mourn. Wait a minute, we're the ones that are cursed. Blessed are the meek. No, we've been told we were cursed. He goes on to say, blessed are the merciful. And they're saying, but that's not what our law teaches, an eye for an eye. It doesn't teach mercy. He says, blessed are the pure in heart. And they're like, the pure in heart, the only people that are blessed around here are the ones that observe the purity laws. Are you beginning to see why this was turning upside down the religious convention of the time? He goes on to say, blessed are you when people insult you, when they persecute you, when they falsely see all kinds of evil about you. Now, he's not saying that it's blessed to have bad things happen to you. He's not saying that. He's saying that no matter what's happened to you, you are blessed. You are a divine incarnation. You are the expression of God. It is not your station in life that confers your blessing. It's your very being. That the original blessing begins to inform the way we approach life. And so if you know that you're a blessing, then when your circumstances are challenging, when hard things come, when bad things come, you don't lose sight of who you are in the face of what you are going through. Amen? That's a powerful, powerful difference. And so the first movement of blessing is to be an original blessing. That I am an original blessing, and to know that about your nature, to know that about yourself. The second movement of blessing is to behold. Mary Baker Eddy says it very succinctly. She says, to those leaning on the sustaining infinite, today is big with blessings. To those leaning on the sustaining infinite, today is big with blessings. You can turn that into an I am. I am leaning on the sustaining infinite. Today is big with blessing. Would you say that with me? I am leaning on the sustaining infinite. Today is big with blessings. The first movement of blessing is to be. The second is to behold. We live in a sea of blessing. How many of you have ever broken an arm or a foot or broken something like that? Did it not cause you to appreciate taking a shower, tying your shoes, preparing your own food? There's so many. We swim in a sea of blessings, and it's kind of like the fish looking for water. We're in a sea of blessings. Now, this is not just a good idea, it's a divine idea. In the Gospel of Thomas, the words of Jesus say, recognize what is in sight, and what is hidden from you will become plain to you, for there's nothing hidden that will not become manifest. As we begin to recognize, to behold the blessings in our life, what Terry read was so beautiful. As you begin to hold the blessings all around you, what you're doing is you're conditioning yourself to recognize blessings. You're conditioning yourself to receive blessings as well. The question for us about beholding blessings in this movement is, where do you look for blessings? And what do you lean on? And what do you lean into? Where do you expect blessings to come from? I had a real aha many years ago. In a previous life, I worked with Brio, a Swedish children's toy company, and I spent the majority of every January and February in New York, because that's where the International Toy Fair takes place, and it was my responsibility to set up a big showroom. And so it was very cold in New York in January and February, so I spent a lot of time in cabs. Now, if you want to keep your prayer life up, just go get in a New York cab. I did not know that some people just drive as many cars can fit in a place and pay no attention to the lines. I didn't know it was okay to go up on the sidewalk if you chose, if your car would fit there. That in and of itself is a blessing to survive that. But one day I was in a cab and I enjoyed talking to the cab drivers. They were different from what I was accustomed to. And I was talking to a gentleman one day, and he was from India. And I asked him, I said, how's your day? And he said, not very good. Not very good at all. I said, I'm sorry. He said, yeah, I had to leave early this morning before my mother could bless me. And I'm thinking, oh my God, is he losing his mother? And I said, wow, I'm sorry. He said, yeah, my whole day I've been without her blessing. And then he went on to say this. He said, I am Hindu. He said, in my faith, we practice Sharan Sparsh. And I looked it up later, and Sharan means feet and Sparsh means touch. According to the Hindu tradition, you touch the elder's feet to receive your blessing. And so what he went on to tell me is every morning he would touch his mother's feet before he left to obtain her blessing. But that morning he had to leave really early and she was still in bed and he did not get her blessing. And he said it just had been a very bad day. He had been without a blessing all day. Now, I learned a lot, I'm telling you, because it really stuck with me. But not only did I learn a lot about another person and their faith, it's my practice to apply it to myself. I began to think about, where do I look for blessings so intently that I fail to see the ones right in front of me? What do I lean on? And I think that is the only source of my blessing. Are there places that do I block my own because I'm not even open to look for blessing? So when we begin to really engage the art and the practice of blessing, number one is to be the original blessing. And then that begins to inform how we behold. That to look, to recognize, to be attentive, namaste, is to recognize that you are a blessed light of God. And I can't know that about you if I'm not knowing it about myself. We begin to recognize the blessings around us. To behold, the third movement of blessing is to birth, to be a birther of blessings. To really understand, this is probably what feels like where the greatest work takes place, but when you hear all four of these, I hope you'll understand that they're all informing each other. They're cultivating something within you, a capacity to be the way of a blessed life, to be the way of blessing. When we think about a birther of blessing, for those of you that are familiar with Bible stories, you may remember a story about the character named Joseph. You've probably seen Joseph in the Technicolor, the coat of many colors. Joseph was a younger son who was favored by his father. He was so much favored by his father that the older brothers were very resentful and very jealous. And Joseph didn't help that along because he was always boasting. It says that his father made him a coat of many colors, and he just sort of would bask in that in a naive sense sort of way, but also perhaps in a little bit of a goading sense of way. And so it's very clear that he was the father's favorite. And the father's favorite, if the father had one, was always supposed to be the eldest son. So as the story goes, the older brothers got so fed up with him, one day when they were out working, they literally threw him in a big hole and left him to die. They went back and they told the father he had died, and they just left him for dead. But as the story unfolds, some people find him and he's taken to another land, and he really has to create a new life, and he doesn't have an easy life, but he kind of pulls himself up by his bootstraps. And Joseph makes of himself a great leader. And as the story goes, a famine falls over the land, and many years later, Joseph is now working directly under the king. And he's the one that is dispersing grain. He's the one that is dispersing the things that will keep people in their farms alive. And it's at the time when his father and his brothers are about to die because they're at the mercy of whomever is going to dispense these good things. And the brothers have known all this time that they're thinking they'd killed their little brother. They left him to die. The father thinks he's dead. And as the story unfolds, what we find out is they have to come face to face. And Joseph is in this place of power now, and he could have squashed his brothers. He could have given them what they deserved. But the famous words, what came from the whole story, is Joseph said, hey, listen, what you clearly intended for evil, God used for good. And that good has taken place in my heart. And so he was able to help them. Now, when we break that story down in our life, the many different scriptures, the faith traditions clearly tell us, don't repay evil for evil. That our goal is to bless and to be a blessing. Again, the Buddha says, if you're poor, live wisely. If you're rich, live wisely. It is not your station in life, but it is your heart that brings blessings. And so consider this. It can go a couple of different ways when you've been wronged and you know you've been wronged. They may or may not know that they've wronged you. How do you respond? Something is hurting you. There's a story of a man who was an owner of a grocery store, and he went to his guru in great distress. And he said, across the street, there's a large grocery store chain that has just opened. And he said, it's going to drive me out of business. My family has owned this grocery shop for a century, and I have no other job, no other experience. I'm skilled at nothing else. It will be my undoing. The guru said, but if you fear the owners of the chain store, you will despise or hate them. And it is these negative feelings of contempt that will be your undoing. And he said, well, what shall I do? And he said, well, each morning, walk out, turn and face your store and give thanks for it. Give thanks for all that is provided. Bless it and give thanks. And then turn around and do the same thing for the new store. And he said, what? Bless my competition? Bless the one that's going to drive me out of business? Are you crazy? I can't possibly do that. And he said, any evil or ill will or bad wishes you convey toward them will not serve you. You cannot serve up ill will and be in the flow of blessing. Let that sink in. You cannot serve up ill will and be in the flow of blessing. So after 6 months, the grocer returned to report that he had, in fact, had to close his store. But the place across the street had approached them, and he was currently training to be the general manager for the brand new operation across the store. And he said he was lighter and happier than he had been in years. Now, I do know of a lot of stories that turn out similar. I know of many more stories that don't turn out exactly like that. I know of many more stories that turn out like Pierre Pradervand, who wrote the book, The Gentle Art of Blessing. And what inspired his whole book was that the company he was working for began to ask things of him that so compromised his integrity, he realized he was going to have to leave a job that he loved. And so he did. He had to leave it all. But it left him so resentful, so angry. He said he was literally consumed by it. He would wake up thinking about it. He would walk around. He hated the way he felt, but he had been wronged. How many of you can pause and know what it feels like to have been wronged? You see, Jesus was talking to an audience of people, boy, they knew. They were on the short of the stick. And he was saying to them, you're still a blessed being. You have to find, this is where to be a birther of blessing takes place. And it's to be present to both of those things, to what's going on and to the bigger truth. A great teacher in this is John O'Donohue. John O'Donohue, in writing To Retrieve the Lost Art of Blessing, he suggests that when you begin to bless a hard situation, when you begin to bless people who have persecuted you, it does not erase difficulty, but it allows you to reach deeper. You're not ignoring a hurt or an injustice. You need to deal with that. You tend to what is, but you're also priming the pump with all that is. John O'Donohue writes, blessing is not the invention of what is not there, nor the glazed-eyed belief that the innocent energy of goodwill can alter what is destructive. Blessing is a more robust and grounded presence. It can issue with confidence from the hidden self, and its vision and force can transform what is deadlocked, numbed, and inevitable. When you bless someone, you literally call the force of their infinite self into action. How to do this? This book, The Gentle Art of Blessing by Pierre Pradervand, he literally gives some good examples. If you need help in how do you make this practical in your life, I recommend it. He began to practice blessing in his life to the places where he'd been hurt. He was in an area where he was having to witness terrorist acts. And how do you practice blessing there? But he would say he learned to bless in a way that goes like this. I bless them in their capacity for integrity. I bless the wholeness within them. I bless them in their realization that love is the ultimate law governing the universe and mankind, and that their deepest, honest longings can only be reached through the law of love. I bless them in their awareness that deep down they express the light. I bless them in their unlimited goodness and kindness and compassion. I bless them in their caring, which is waiting within to be kindled and brought to full fruition. And I bless myself in the awareness that divine love in this situation is the only perfect reflection. I bless the same consciousness in me and in thee, that whatever the appearance, we may be attuned to the mind of God and the presence of love. That's a powerful blessing. And you can feel the energy shift when you begin to work at a level like that. That goes back to number one, that we're all an original blessing. And when we begin to bless that, it's like a psychology professor, his class was nearing their time of graduation, and he held up a piece of paper with what looked like a little dot on it, and he said, "What do you see?" And one person said, "A black dot." He said, "Okay, what else do you see?" And another person said, "Well, it looks like a dot that's not perfectly round. I see a dot." Another person said, "Well, I see a dot, and perhaps it's a shade of gray and not exactly black." And they went on along that line, and he said, "What else do you see?" And they kept going deeper and deeper and deeper until finally he said, "Do any of you see the paper?" Yeah. He said, "You're going to be working with patients and with people who all they can see are the dots on the radar of their life. You have to always help them see the bigger presence. That whatever is going on, it doesn't mean you ignore it, dismiss it, don't tend to it. But as Einstein said, you can't solve a problem at the same level of consciousness that created it. This is where we have to open up. That is what it means to be a birther of blessings. And I tell you, there's some pains in that. If you've ever witnessed a birth, it's not pretty, and it's not without a mess, and it's not without some groans of giving birth. But that's what we're made to do, and there's great beauty that comes through that. And so the four movements of blessing are to be, to behold, to birth, and then to bestow. Sometimes we bestow blessings and we don't even realize it. When I was gathering information this week about blessings, I encountered a really sweet story of some little boys that were altar boys. And it was at a certain time they would need to go into the priest for confession. And this one little boy, Sean, went in for his confession. "Forgive me, Father, I've sinned. This week I've been places I should not have gone." And the father recognizes his voice and said, "Sean, I know that's you." He says, "Yes, Father, it's me." He said, "Well, Sean, tell me, have you been in that room that we keep hidden down below the library?" "Father, I cannot say." "Sean, have you been in my office looking around?" "Father, my lips are sealed." "Sean, have you discovered that closet in the kitchen where we keep the wine?" "Father, I really cannot say." He said, "Well, Sean, you need to take a break and reflect on what you've done. You cannot serve as an altar boy for the next 4 months. Now go and be a good boy." He said, "Sit down." Sean sat down, and his friend Eamon moved over and said, What did you get?" He said, "I got a great blessing. I got 4 months off and 3 really good leads." 4 months off and 3 really good leads. Like you, I chuckled when I read that. It came up under blessings, and I thought, well, sometimes you're bestowing a blessing and you don't even know it. Especially if they say, "Bless them when they leave, Lord. Bless them when they leave." To be a blessing is to be, it's to behold, it's to birth, and it's to bestow. Now, sometimes you are bestowing blessings and you don't know it, but let's get intentional. Melody, would you give me that song? One of the greatest things you can do is to become one who blesses others. Do you realize that it's a blessing when you're checking out at the grocery store if you pause for just a moment and sincerely make eye contact with that clerk and notice, honest to goodness, notice something that you appreciate, and to look at them and to say, I really like your smile today. I really noticed the way you didn't get flustered with the person before you. You'll be amazed at how much difference that makes. John O'Donohue, again, in his book, To Retrieve the Lost Art of Blessing, he talks about when he was growing in popularity as a priest. He describes an experience where he was visiting a group of nuns, and one of the nuns said, would you please bless me? And so he did. And then when he finished, he went around and he got down on his knees in front of her and he said, Sister, would you bless me? And he said that she got tears in her eyes. He said she started to sort of tremble. But then she put her hands on his head and blessed him. You never know when someone is wanting your blessing as much as you're wanting theirs. How many of you would be willing to dig deeper this week and to really spend some time thinking about these movements? How are you being called to know yourself to be the original blessing? How are you being primed in your life right where you are to become a beholder, to pay attention? What is at work in your life like the grain of grit inside of the oyster? What is trying to produce a pearl of blessing in you? Where are you being asked to be a birther of blessing? And how much fun would it be if every day you were willing to bless? Because here's the thing, you cannot give what you do not have to give. As you begin to bless, you begin to realize, I'm not self-generating this. This is source original. I'm just letting it flow through. You become a channel of a blessed life. To be, to behold, to birth, and to bestow. We want to use this beautiful song by Karen Drucker that says, you're a blessing to the world. You are the heart. You are the hands. You are the voice of spirit on earth. And who you are and all you do is a blessing to the world. I invite you to close your eyes and to really hear this. If you're willing to face your palms in your lap, hands up. You are a blessing. You are the divine seed. There is an idea that is the pattern of your created being. And this pattern, this blueprint that called you into life, what is this pattern, what is this blueprint made of that is the source of your life, is the source of every human life? It is made of source. It is God. The image, the likeness of the creative, that is you. Holy, ordained, perfect spirit. No one, no thing, no stain can blemish the truth of your soul. No one, no thing, no stain, no stopping point can create a pause or an obstacle that spirit cannot transcend. There is that within you that will always say, mountain be removed. Because there is that within you that knows itself that is far greater than any mountain that could ever appear. To say mountain be removed is a shift in perception. It is a shift in self-orientation. It is to reach the core of your identity, to reach the core of your I am that I am. That within me that sources me, that within me that is not held to this earth or this body or this frame or this moment. That within me which can see and call forth from the infinite field of potentiality. That within me which can align situations and circumstances that can navigate whatever waters I've been called to tread. There is that within you that can always meet whatever is called forth. That is the art and the practice of blessing, to know yourself. And you cannot know really for yourself unless you know it for every self. So it becomes a sacred practice, a joyful opportunity to do your very best, to see beyond the costume, to see beyond the lampshade, to see beyond the conditions, to the soul, to the spirit. And what you bless is the seed of the Spirit. You bless the light of truth. And as you bless the seed of the Spirit and the light of truth, you illuminate it, you quicken it within that which you bless, but even more so within your own vessel that is doing the blessing. We are here to bless and to be blessed. And so whether it is to touch the feet of another, whether it is to touch the hem of a garment, whatever your touchstone may be, let it become enlarged. Let the fountain and the source of where you turn for your blessings become infinite. Let your eyes become primed to see and your heart become presenced to be. As you are. You are the heart. You are the hands. You are the voice of spirit on earth. And who you are, and all you can do can be a blessing to your world. 'Cause we are the heart, we are the hands, we are the voice of spirit on earth, and who we are, and all we do is a blessing to the world. I'm going to gently invite you to shake your fingers and wiggle your toes. To behold, to birth, and to bestow. Would you stand with me? Let's extend it. You are the heart, you are the hands, you are the voice of spirit on earth, and who you are, and all you do is a blessing to the world. You are the hands, you are the heart, whatever. You are the voice of spirit on earth, and who you are, and all you do is a blessing to the world. One more time. We are the heart, we are the hands, we are the voice of spirit on earth, and all we are blessing to the world. Now, would you do us a favor? I want you to turn and look at that camera. And just imagine somebody. And you see, here's the thing about when you bless someone, you're not sending, you don't have to get it to them because it's not there. When you bless someone, you see them in number one. You see them in their original condition with it flowing through that. I bless you because I see that. And now you add to that your good intentions for them. That, my friends, is a blessing. We're going to practice it one more time. Now turn to somebody in here and just take a moment to pause and look at somebody. And just see them, see the light of God flowing through them, see the perfection of spirit as they're being. You see that. You're beholding it. You're blessing them because you're pausing to see it. And now within your heart and in your mind, give them your own good intention. Your blessing for them. All right, and one more. Hands on your heart. Let's do it this way. Hands on your heart and head, and one hand right here. Just to see if you can. Now switch it up. Now lift one foot. I'm just kidding. Can you see yourself, laughter and all? God said you're good. You're good. You got it. You're chip off the source block. Now send yourself some love. What do you need today? Now say, thank you. I'm glad you came today. Thank you. I'm glad you came today. Give yourself a hand. You may be seated. Thank you so much. That was awesome. I'm glad I was here today, too. You may be seated unless your name is Deborah Reinhardt. Deborah, would you please come up? Last week, we received new members. John is not here today, is he, Nancy? John couldn't be here again today. 2 of our new members were not able to be here, but Deborah Reinhardt is with us today. You, last week, were not here because you were taking your cat to the vet. And would you tell them how that turned out?
Okay, I got up and I was getting dressed to come to church, and my cat was walking around, and the next time I saw him, he was limping, and he couldn't use his paw. And we didn't know what happened. He was crying loudly. So we grabbed him and we ran to the emergency vet. And the vet told us that it was a nerve injury and that he had a 50-50 chance of losing his leg or recovering. And I had called Christy, and she told me that they did a blessing for Bingle.
We did. We told everybody about Bingle, and we sent our love and our blessing.
And I have a couple friends that are Reiki workers, and they were beaming him. And so I took him to the vet on a Friday, and we had him in a crate because we were told not to let him move. And he walked out. But he had been like this, and the vet said, I think Bingle has sorted himself out. And I said to him, well, I had a church praying for him, and he said, well, I think it did more than the prednisone, which is a drug for swelling.
So the moral of the story is you're more powerful than prednisone. Take that on. And we're so glad, Deborah, that you are here and that you said yes to membership. May we extend the same blessing.
I have to tell you something.
All right.
When Christy told me everybody was praying for my cat, I told my friend Lori, who's come here, I know I joined the right church, because I'm telling you, my heart was hurting. I don't know why I love this cat so much. I said, I am in the right place.
You are in the right place. Oh, thank you. Would you rub your hands to Deborah and let us extend that blessing to her that says to Deborah, we love you, we bless you, we appreciate you, and we behold the divinity in you. Welcome into membership. You and Bingle will make him an honorary member. Thank you so much, Deborah. We appreciate you. Thank you. I wanted to have her share that with you. Thank you for showing that. And Nancy, you can tell John he can come back. I won't pull him on stage. We want to truly thank each and every one of you. I would like to invite up our prayer chaplain and one of our ushers. We're not yet, we hope to soon resume it, but we're not yet passing the offering collection because just being mindful of what you're touching. And so our ushers, Jennifer Hastings is representing, she's one of our ushers, and reminds you, we literally do have physical places in the building. These blue boxes have been blessed, and they're meant to acknowledge your capacity to give. This is a business, it does take financial resources, and we are the ones that do that. And so what we ask is that every person ask what's yours to do, and you give accordingly. And we bless those gifts. Most of you are giving virtually. Those of you online, many of you are supporting this ministry as you're being fed, and we thank you for that. Reverend Megan is reminding us that we are founded in prayer. We truly do practice prayer here, and prayer is about, first and foremost, a recognizing what's already true for you. And so we hold your prayers, as that wooden box will be in the back if you'd like to leave a prayer request. These blue boxes are throughout the building. And we affirm our prayers, our gifts together, and we say, divine love flowing through me blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, all that I receive, and all that I am. I am in perfect balance and flow with the universal tides of giving and receiving. Thank you, God, and so it is. I just realized we don't have those words up for you, so thank you for going, you know, man. Sort of like you know them. Like, how many of you sing like that? Like, you sort of, you get one word right occasionally on the song. It makes it fun. All right, Kat Williams and Mary Kay Williams. They've got a song here that's going to ask you to get up on your feet in just a moment. But I want to thank you for your presence, for being here. How many of you enjoyed this series this year? Yeah. Thank you so much for engaging it. All right, Kat Williams, what do you have for them?
Get up off your feet, see the light in everyone you meet. Everybody get up on your feet, see the light in everybody you meet. Let us be reminded who we've come to be. We are love, we are one big family. Hey, hey, yeah, yeah, hey, hey, hey. Yeah, yeah. Let us make a joyful sound. Here we stand on this ground. Let us make a joyful sound. Here we stand on holy ground. Let us make a joyful sound. Hey, 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 yeah, yeah. Let us make a joyful sound. Here we stand on holy ground. Let us make a joyful sound. Here we stand on holy ground. Let us make a joyful sound. Hey, hey, hey. Let's start it from the beginning. Now, here we go. Everybody get up on your feet. See the light in everybody you meet. Everybody get up on your feet. See the light in everybody you meet. Let us be reminded who we've come to be. We are love, we are one big family. Hey, hey, yeah, yeah. Hey, hey, yeah, yeah. Stay on this, y'all. Everybody, get up on your feet. Get up on, yeah. Everybody you meet. Everybody you meet. Everybody, get up on your feet. Yeah, yeah. See to be. We are love, we are love. One big family. Hey, hey, yeah, yeah. Hey, 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 yeah, yeah. Everybody, we are one big family. Are we one big family? One big family. Hey, one big family. Hey, one big family. Hey, one big family. One big family. One big family. Hey, hey, yeah, yeah. Hey, 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 yeah, yeah. Let us be reminded of who we've come to be. We are love, we are one big family. Hey, hey, yeah, yeah. Hey, 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 yeah, yeah. Hey, 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 yeah, yeah. Hey, hey, yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah. Hey, 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 yeah, yeah. Hey, 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 yeah. Uh-oh, I think it's time. I think it's time for one big family. Can you give me a little more bass? Hey, show me what you're working with. Oh, yeah. Take me there. Take me there, Joe. I think we need some congas in there. We need some drums in there. Oh! One big family. We got one big family up here. Melody. Working with. Oh, come on, Dave. We're gonna take it from the top, y'all. Come on now. Everybody, get up on your feet. Get up on your feet. See the light. Everybody, you meet. Everybody, you meet. Everybody, get up on your feet. Get up on your feet. See the light. Everybody, you meet. Let us be reminded of who we come to be. We are love, we are one big family. Hey, hey, yeah, yeah. Hey, 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 yeah, yeah. Hey, 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 yeah, yeah. Hey, 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 yeah.
Everybody, get up on your feet, see the light in everybody you meet. There you go. That it is for this week. Let us close our time together in this prayer that says, the light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. And the presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. May you have a week that is blessed, and may you be a blessing. Thank you so much. Sing us out, Kat.